Al, it's filler time.
Yay!
And we got a boar coming to take all your ladies.
It's not Moroku.
Surprisingly, it is not Moroku.
I mean, he is kind of a menace in this episode, but
That is true. Yes, welcome to this week's episode of Jared and Al Watch Inuyasha. It's episode 131. I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Ladium.
hello.
We are discussing Season 5, Episode 19, or Episode 129, entitled blah, blah, blah. Choking on myself, apparently. Chokyukai and the Abducted Bride.
Well, I was gonna say that it sounds like every time somebody says this name in this show that it sounds like they're choking. So
It is not an easy name to say, for sure. We begin this episode, and there's just these villagers, and they got this lady, this young gal surrounded by rice balls, not eggs.
not
And
eggs.
they're like, "We're gonna stop the demon from getting you," and then that nothing there works. The demon comes, the dudes run away, and then he just blows the house down and takes her with him.
The dudes immediately gave up.
We get this one dude named Kisuke who's like, "Hey, can you guys help me with this problem?" And they're like, Roku's like, we gotta deal with the jewel shard, so we can't really help you." And Kaede's there, he's like, "Can anyone do anything about this?" And he's just like, "All right, I guess I'll go. All right, see y'all later." And then Kisuke's like, "Yeah, well, let me take you to this cave where I'm keeping all the ladies from the village from, all the young ladies that this guy wants to get." And Roku's like, perks up, like, "Hmm? Well, I guess
Young
I could
ladies?
go too." And then Sango stands up next to him, and is like, "Yeah, I gotta go too, but I gotta keep an eye on Moroku, but not for the reasons that was stated earlier." So everyone heads out to go with him. Inuyasha's still confused about why Sango would be mad, and Shippo's is like, "You are dumb. You're just dumb."
And then Kira was like,
Yep. They go into the cave, and all the ladies show up when Kisuke returns, and then Moroku's like, "Hello, would you all like to bear my children? That way you would not be taken by the beast." They're like, "Oh, yes, of course."
that sounds right.
Inuyasha's
One
already
lady's like, I'll go second. I'm
yeah,
like, whoa.
Inuyasha's
Chill
already
out,
left to
lady.
go fight this guy, and Sango just bonks him on the head. Is like, y'all should not be believe everything you hear. Fair bit of warning there. They go out into the forest, and they eventually run into the demon Chokyukai, who's a boar demon, and he's got his two little fellers with him. And then Inuyasha's like, "I'm gonna fight you, because we're gonna use Kagome as bait." But then he shows up, and he's like, "Oh, this is real lame. I don't really want to do this." And Sango also is like, or not Sango, Moroku's also like, "Yeah, I don't really want to do this either. Sango, you want to just take care of this for us?" Sango's like, "What?
Like this guy
What?
this guy
What?"
kind of sucks.
And the guy's like, "Why do you? Oh, you don't want to fight me? You're scared of my prowess." And Shippo's just like, "Nah, they're just they don't think you're that tough at all, my dude."
They think you're a scrub.
Uh,
Also there's this recurring joke about pig and pork chops and things like that it's just completely over my head.
Kagome
I
really
don't get
loves pork, but she does not want to marry a pig.
right. And
That's the gist.
she's not friends with a pig. Because she says that too. It's very weird. So
A,
that's a recurring joke.
a lot of this comes up because she hears the name. It's like, "I've heard that somewhere before," and they're like, "I've never." No, everyone else is like, "I don't know what that means. I don't know."
Hmm.
And then he goes on to explain, like, "Oh yes, these are my friends. This one guy is an ancestor of a water demon. This little monkey is the ancestor of Son Goku, not that Goku.
What?
And I'm also an ancestor of another dude, and we're all, we're these guys. Hello." And then she's like, "All right, I've heard this name before. I read Journey to the West."
Wait, descendant or ancestor?
Same difference.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. Whatever. I think they're
But
descendants.
yes, descendants. But yeah, Journey of the West. She's like, I know that. And then Shippo's like, Kobe's so smart. She knows everything.
So yeah, they learn about all of that, and then he's like, the Shokyokai is like, "All right, I'm just gonna take Kagome with me as my bride now." And he pulls out his little tiara and flings at her, and Yasha dives in to save her, and the tiara lands on him, and he's like, "Oh, master!" Ooh. And they're like, "What is going on here?" So they run in and pull it off of him, and he's like, what just happened?
Yeah, Inuyasha basically turns into Uwu.
Yeah. Moroku sees this and is like, well, yes, if I take this tiara, that means that anyone I put it on will love me unconditionally. Perfect. Song was like, no, don't, no, we're not doing that.
Nope.
And then somehow,
Puts
like,
it on him.
yeah, Songo takes it and then, like, throws it somehow, and then, like, it lands on Moroku, and then he's automatically like, oh, master, to Chokyukai, and they're like, oh, I guess it's only from him that it counts. So they realize that's a problem, but then eventually Kagome gets the tiara on her, and she's like, ooh, master. And Inuyasha fails to save her because he just Chokyukai tornadoes away. And he's like, gosh darn, I can't believe I didn't realize I needed to save her.
Wow,
Heck.
this is what happens when I underestimate things and also don't pay attention to Kagome, even though I said I was going to pay attention to Kagome like 3 episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They come up with a plan to go get her back and everything. We see Chokyukai's castle where he's got all his ladies with him, and Kagome is now lady number one. And then he hears a womanly voice. He's like, oh, I gotta go see what's happening. And there's just a lady out there like, oh, would you put me up for the night? I'm lost. Oh. He's like, oh, of course, stay here 1,000 nights. Ooh, let me get a look at you. And then we realize
I'm so shy.
Yeah, we realize this is Shippo because the tail pops out just in disguise, and Shippo the whole time is like, guys, come on, I can't hold this transformation much longer, and no one just shows up, and then eventually Shippo just transforms back into Shippo, and Chokyukai is like, wait a minute, I know you, you're with that dog. So they rush in, and then Inuyasha immediately just whacks the tiara off Kagome's head, and is like,
gives her a bow.
Gives her the bow and arrow back, and also is like, here's a suture that Moroku had on him, and it apparently is like, it's Chinese. It just had scribbles on it. Sure.
Yep. Sure.
Use this and hit him with it, and then so that's how they're gonna do this. So Inuyasha goes back down to do a little fisticuffs, but then Kagome takes aim with the bow. He's like, wait a minute. Oh no, don't shoot me with that. No, I'm gonna, oh god. And she shoots him right in the butt. And he
right in the butt.
Spins around in a circle a whole bunch of times until he tornadoes himself back up to the clouds and disappears.
Yep. The end. Well, the end of the fight with him anyway.
Yeah. They round up all the women to take back to Kisuke. Moroku's like, oh, ladies, would you like to bear my child? And they all just back up like, yo, he's starting to sound like that demon. Do you think this guy's a demon as well? And he's like, me? A demon?
Not a demon.
Songo, help me. And she's like, whatever. And then Kisuke shows up, and the ladies all flock to him, and he's like,
Kisuke's gonna get with all the ladies.
Yeah, that's how we end this episode.
That dude apparently is a big hit in the village. Moroku is not a big hit in the village.
No, man's got no riz.
No riz.
I mean, he was hit. Try that again. He was a hit with the ladies in the cave, just not these ladies, because they had been through it.
Right, that's true.
Let's see here. We got some notes real quick. It's mostly just about Journey to the West. Have you heard of that before?
I have heard of it once
Like
or
we
twice.
mentioned, Chokyukai and his servants are descendants of the characters from Journey to the West. However, it was written in 1590, and the Sengoku periods ended in 1615. Hence, there isn't enough time for Chohakai to procreate and for Chokyukai to have him as ancestor. Look, it's filler. No one cares about historical accuracy. And then the golden diadem that Chokyukai uses is the same one that the monk used on Sun Wukong to keep in line, sort of like Inuyasha, only with the beads of subjugation instead. So there you go. Learn a little bit about Journey to the West.
Technically, the timeline could work because we don't know about like the demon lifespans and all that fun stuff. So
true.
You know. But again, it's filler. Nobody cares. We're never gonna see this guy again.
Yeah. So that's it for this week. Next time, we will be discussing episode 130 entitled Shippo's New Technique, the Heart Scar. Shippo's going to get some young foxes, and they want to train under him. Normal things.
Going to get some apprentices.
Yes. So yeah, we'll take a look at that next time. But for now, if you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Seasonal Anime Checkup OVA. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Anladium, go to anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. You can follow us on Blue Sky at seasonalanimecheckup.com. You can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, a critical analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, Hot Tubs, and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. So join us next time as we see what Shippo gets up to training some little dudes.